Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. So today I'm going to react to a popular YouTube video about paying off credit card debt. The creator of the video says that she was able to pay off $10,000 in 6 months, which is amazing. So we're going to talk through this woman's situation and decide if her advice will help you become debt-free. So let's start the video and see what she has to say.
Today's video is about how I paid off $10,000 in credit card debt in 6 months. I am so excited, and this really hasn't even hit me yet. First of all, this has been the best year for me financially, and this is my first year being a full-time YouTuber where this is the only job that I am working. It's been that way since January, so it's still relatively new. And I have been earning small amounts of money from YouTube since about 2012, but this is not a YouTube get-rich-quick scheme. It has taken a lot of time and work to get to the point where this is my full-time job.
Okay, perfect. So let's pause there. George and I just talked about this on a recent episode of Smart Money Happy Hour, where we talked about influencing and how it's a career now on social media. And we really looked at the ins and outs of it. And I appreciate that she warns against the get-rich-quick mentality. Oh, because it can be so easy to be like, oh, look, they're making tons of money. That'll be easy. But honestly, making good, consistent money on a social platform does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen for all people, but it can if you're consistent with it. But it is not a great method to get cash quickly. Another side hustle would be better for that. So I appreciate that she said that. So just want you guys to keep that in mind. Okay, let's listen to her next point.
Really, I don't want anyone to directly compare their situation to mine. I think when it comes to personal finance, it's important to remember that it's all about concepts and strategies. Everyone's income and expenses and situations are very different. Those amounts will vary wildly. But when it comes to debt payoff, the strategies are all pretty much the same.
Okay, so part of this I love. So I love that she said, don't compare your financial situation with someone else. And don't, you guys, the comparison trap is so real, and you have no clue what is going on with someone else. So don't make this like snapshot of someone's life and just assume you know everything about it. Do not compare your life. But then she says, well, everyone's strategy can be different. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I agree with that, because I feel like, obviously I'm very biased, but the way we talk about it at Ramsey is the debt snowball. That's what we teach to get out of debt. And it is one of the proven methods of getting out of debt most effectively. So the debt snowball is where you list out all of your debts, smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate, pay minimum payments on everything, and attack that smallest debt first. And you do it that way. And so that strategy, regardless of your financial situation, consistently will work. Okay, let's see what's next.
Anyway, let me give some backstory into my situation. How did I get into $10,000 of credit card debt? So I made this video back in March to publicly announce my debt payoff journey and specify exactly how much money I owe. In addition to my credit card debt, I also owe now about $18,000 in student loans. By the way, I chose to tackle credit card debt first because the interest rates are higher. My credit card interest rates averaged about 20%, while my student loan interest rates are about 4%.
Okay, so I mentioned the debt snowball earlier, and remember, it's regardless of the interest rate. So I would still pay off her credit cards first, the $10,000 before the student loan, because it's the smallest amount, not because of the interest rate. Paying off debt is not always about math, you guys. Math itself is not what's going to get you out of debt. You is what is going to get you out of debt. And when you get quick wins with paying off the smallest one first, it is proven to have momentum in the process. Okay, now she's gonna explain how she acquired so much credit card debt.
Once I got to college though, my biggest problem was that I just was not making enough money to keep up with my expenses. And that is when I started to rely on credit cards to kind of bridge that gap. And obviously we know those balances can grow really quickly. I used to work regular minimum wage jobs, in food service, childcare, work-study jobs on campus. I made about $15,000 in 2016, and then in 2017, I studied abroad and couldn't work. And then that summer, I worked at a summer camp, which did not pay much. It's more of an experience. And in 2017, I only earned $5,000. I honestly don't even know how I survived. So while studying abroad, my room and board was covered by student loans, and I got a small stipend, but I did end up adding about $1,400 to my credit card by the end of my semester and time traveling. Shortly after that summer, I also had to spend $2,000 on emergency dental work. Yay to being uninsured. No, that was not fun. And I also decided to drop $2,000 on Smile Direct Club to straighten my teeth. I definitely did not have the money for that at the time, but I was just sick of being insecure about my teeth, and honestly now, very worth it to me. I'm glad I did it then. But then of course, studying abroad was amazing, but it also cost a lot of money, and it definitely added to my student loan debt and my credit card debt. But again, I think it was worth it. I mean, I would not regret that experience ever. So yes, looking back, about $5,500 of my $10,000 credit card debt happened in just 2017. I had always been conscious of my debt, and I always made my payments on time every single month. But by like early 2018, I was 22 and I just still wasn't earning very much money.
Okay, so this makes sense. This happens for a lot of people when it comes to travel and emergencies, especially in emergency surgery. This is where a lot of people get stuck in credit card debt. So 2 things to remember. Number 1, you want to budget. Okay, so you want to budget and know exactly where your money's going. So when something like travel comes up, for instance, you can plan ahead. Now, we talk about having a $1,000 emergency fund at the beginning of the baby steps. And this is really important because when unexpected things come up, like this dental surgery, she has to have it. So what you would do in that situation is you have $1,000 saved, pause paying off debt, pile up $1,000, put it together, get the surgery, make sure you're good, and then go and build back up the emergency fund of $1,000 and then start paying off debt again. Because here's the deal, emergencies are unavoidable. They're going to happen. Unexpected things, unexpected expenses are very common. And so that's one reason we say to have that emergency fund. Because if you don't have it, what's also common is going into credit card debt for those emergencies. Because if you don't have money in the bank, guess who is prepared for you to have an emergency? Credit card companies and the bank. They know that you're going to depend on them when emergencies happen. So we want to cut that out at the source and have an emergency fund. So again, following the baby steps, living on less than you make puts you in control of your money. And then if you're budgeting, when it comes to things like debt or it comes to things like travel and all that, you can put that in your budget and plan out where your money is going. And she also says in the video that she doesn't regret going into debt for studying abroad. Listen, I know memories are made and it is so exciting, but that's one reason you say, I'm gonna put it in the budget. Do I want you to have those memories? Yes, I do. But I don't want you going into debt for those memories. It's not worth it. Just saying, hey, we're gonna plan out and not let our money control us, not be owing people stuff, but I'm going to plan and budget and save for it. Because traveling around the world, if it's something you really want to do, then put it in the budget, create a sinking fund for that experience. So when the time comes, you have the money for it and you're not going into debt and wasting money on interest. All right, speaking of interest, she actually shares some numbers here in this next part. So let's take a listen.
And my credit card payments were annoying, of course, but I was kind of used to just paying them. And I had no idea how much money I was actually wasting. I did the math just recently, and in 2018 alone, I paid $1,587 in interest across 4 cards. Want to know how much I earned that year? Just about $20,000 before taxes. So the amount of interest that racked up on my credit cards was over 12% of my entire annual income. That is insane. Clearly, I needed to pay this off, and I knew that I was not gonna live with this debt forever.
So remember, interest paid is a penalty. Interest made is a gift, right? So when you make interest on your money by investing it, that's amazing. Your money's making money. But then it's a penalty if you're the one paying interest. And that is one of the reasons that I teach people not to use credit cards, because it is a slippery slope. You get used to living this certain lifestyle, and then if you up it a little bit and you don't have the money to pay the bill at the end of the month, interest is gonna kick in, and it is like throwing money away. So that $1,500 that she paid in interest is gone. Like it is out there. It wasn't for anything else except for the bank and the credit card companies. That's what makes them rich. Is interest. That's how they make their money, you guys. That is how they make their money. Okay, I'm done with my interest rant. So let's watch one more clip to see how she recommends getting out of debt.
Now I'm gonna tell you a few basic steps for paying off credit card debt and what my actual process was like. Step 1, you've gotta get serious and commit. This is honestly the hardest part. A lot of us can live with debt. Why is my shirt doing this? That's really annoying. A lot of us can live with debt and kind of push it to the back of our minds and ignore it, but it is so important to finally realize that you are done with this and you are gonna start seriously working to pay it off. Second major tip, you must track your income and expenses religiously. But the thing is, I actually enjoy this process now. Like, I used to be one of those people who was scared to even look at my bank account, and now I check it like weekly at least. I always know what I have spent and I know what I'm gonna spend in the next month. And that makes me feel more secure and I don't feel like I'm drowning.
Okay, I love this. I love this. So clearly she handles her money way differently now that she's out of credit card debt, which is so great. So she recommends budgeting. Yes. She recommends tracking expenses to pay off debt to avoid more debt later. Yes. She says having a month-to-month plan helps you know what to expect. And this is exactly what we teach at Ramsey. And I love Every Dollar, the budgeting app, because it helps you plan and budget and know where your money's going. And I also love that she's just being so open about the lessons that she learned. You know, there's no shame. We all make mistakes. We are learning. But the idea is that you're starting a path that is going to help you financially. And that is the path it sounds like she's walking down, which is great. And it sounds like she is becoming more financially stable over the years. So she is doing better, which is absolutely incredible. And trust me, we hear this all the time on the Ramsey Show, that once you feel that crippling effect of debt, that weight, and you get out of it, you never want to get back into the cycle. So the encouraging thing is that we learned today is that your money situation is not permanent. There's hope that you can change your future with some discipline, changing your habits, but it is possible for anyone. So make sure to share this video with a friend who's working to get out of debt. And for all you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.